You're listening to the No BS Bishop podcast. We're alive to love, and all other values are potential BS. Now here's your host, Bishop Randy Dean.
Welcome to you all. I'm Bishop Randy Dean. I'm the No BS Bishop, alive to love. I believe lesser values than love easily devolve into BS, and I'm just not going to BS life anymore, or people in life. I don't want to be BS'd, and I don't want you BSing me. I think it's time to just be straightforward about the power of love, and to be in no hurry to try to excuse why I can't love somebody or why this person or that group shouldn't be loved. I'm done. There's just a whole lot of BS trying to excuse my way out of loving. So that's why I'm here, to call you, join me in a love revolution, a love purpose, a love life that goes forward toward, this is my subject today, toward the power of beauty. Now, if you've been here before, you know I close the broadcast often with these words. Go out there and do something beautiful today. Why? Because, oh, baby, ugly is getting done to death. Let's be the people of beauty who rise with love. Now, that's my tagline, but it's more than a tagline. I borrow it from the theory of Fyodor Dostoevsky, a Russian author, philosopher, kind of a backyard theologian, who said once, beauty will save the world. Now, some people think he said that with a bit of a Mona Lisa smile. He said that with a bit of a contemplative wave at what might have been. He wrote it into his fiction, works of fiction. But whatever the case may be, those words they resonate with me. Beauty will save the world. And the most beautiful thing on the planet, the most beautiful thing in the universe is love. Capital L, capital O, capital V, capital E, love. And maintaining that philosophy, that theory, that priority, that challenge, that obedience to a command. So, we're going to talk about the power of beauty today. Before we get there, though, I do want to do a couple of things, as I do here on the regular, and that is I want to lead you in the Lord's Prayer. But before we get there, let me lead you in love's creed. There's a ironic thing, right? A creed for this high-powered, high-priority challenge of life, a creed toward love. All right, so let's go to that creed, and I'll give it to you in total, then I'll come back and let me ask you to repeat after me, all right? But first, here it is in total. I'm alive to love. I am not on this earth for hate. I'm alive for love. I'm not breathing, eating, and sleeping to regain energy for causing pain. I am alive with plans, dreams, and designs locked into anything and everything that is love. I am unavailable for anything less than love. All right, there it is in total. If you'd like a copy of it, you can write me at randydeanministries@gmail.com. That's all lowercase, one word, randydeanministries@gmail. I'll send you a copy with no BS attached. I'm not trying to build a high-powered email list. I'm just seeking to serve through love. Okay, here it is, and I'll give it to you and ask you to repeat after me like couples at a wedding altar. Here we go. I'm alive to love. I am not on this earth for hate. I'm alive for love. I'm not breathing, eating, and sleeping to regain energy for causing pain. I am alive with plans, dreams, and designs locked into anything and everything that is love. I am unavailable for anything less than love. I so believe those words. Wrote them about a decade ago for a New Year's resolution, and it really just took root in me, got traction in my life and my love for life. So there you have it, Love's Creed. All right, to the subject of the day, the power of beauty. As I said earlier, Fyodor Dostoevsky queried and asked and challenged and spoke those words, beauty will save the world. That's a headful, heartful, mindful of challenge. Beauty saving the world. Now, he's writing this back in the late 1800s in the struggles of the then Russian, the Russian society that shortly thereafter turned to the USSR. There was a lot of pain around Dostoevsky at the time. And there is a lot of pain around us right now, too. There's a lot of confusion and angst, divisiveness. Oh, my goodness. In my 73 years, I've never seen such divisiveness in our nation. It's painful, and it needs to be painful. It needs to give us pause to weep. I'll talk about that later. But I'm challenging you to join me in a beauty movement, a movement that moves us away from the ugly toward the beauty. And that's not going to happen in one fell swoop. I have no illusions that suddenly we're going to make click our heels and go to Oz and have everything beautiful and pretty. I don't believe that. I do believe, however, that in every day, in every way, in every thought, and every meditation, that beauty can become our lifestyle. That we're aimed at the beauty of life. So just tune in with me, all right? Just bear with me while I open this up a bit and unpack this. I've been a firsthand witness, pastored my whole life, of watching now at the end of my life and ministry. I'm not about to die, but I can see it from here. I'm 73. But now at the end of my whole life I've spent in pastoring churches in America, in the United States of America, I'm seeing the result of the failure of so many systems within the institutional church in the United States that has caused 40 to 45 million people to walk away from the organized purposes of the brick and mortar of church. And to some degree or another, that's me too. The pain of watching, for instance, the church dive headlong into the deep end of Christian nationalism and being willing to endorse one party, one candidate over the other, and then one party and one candidate is good and the other party, other folks are all evil. That us versus them mentality has been destructive and horrible in the face of how the church is trying to survive in the 21st century. And in fact, thousands of churches are shuttering their doors. No exaggeration. For every 5 pastors retiring, there's only 2 or 3 coming back in their place. So, I mean, the attrition rate is off the charts. Now, having said that, I know that I can't just complain or commiserate it, and I'm not. If you know me, I've spent the better part of the past 6 years or more unpacking, challenging, being a part of a Christian heart toward folks that I call spiritual refugees. I'm a pastor. I'm always going to be a pastor. I'll be pastoring on my deathbed. I promise you that. Because that's how I live and breathe and eat and sleep, and that's because I love. And so the answers aren't complaining and negativity. The answers are honesty and forthright, a vigorous challenge, not some mamby-pamby rainbows, unicorns, and cotton candy. No, it's going to require a significant amount of heavy lifting on the part of people who think of Jesus as their Lord and who live for Jesus as their Lord. I'm one. I'm a follower, a deep-hearted, passionate follower of Jesus. But what's it going to take? Well, I think it's going to take being as Christ who went about doing good. The book of Acts says he went about doing good and healing all who were oppressed of the devil. He told his disciples, go out and heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers. Freely you've received, freely give. He made it clear. He made it clear that we're to forgive 70 times 7 every day. That isn't to say you keep account every day. It is to say perpetually forgive. Who? How? What? What's unforgivable? He isn't really make it clear what we have to wait for that's unforgivable. He just says Just buckle up, buttercup, and forgive 70 times 7 every day. Let the negativity be gone. Let it be done. You know, if if negativity and shame and blame would have won the day, then before Jesus came, then the dominant religion of Israel at the time would have been, they'd been an absolute, they'd have been absolutely champions. They would have been the best of all things. But they weren't, and they were losing traction, just like we're seeing here in the United States of America, losing traction with a Christianity that has lost its way. We've lost the storyline, because in Christ, we have one commandment, and that commandment is love. And by this, everyone will know you are my disciples. What the word disciples mean? You're a true student. You're a student doing their homework, a student who's writing their thesis, a student who sits up late at night taking care of the projects that an instructor gave them. And the project the instructor gave us is love, and it should keep us up at night working on plans and strategies, working on ideas and means by which love can be genuinely, fully, and thoroughly expressed. Not by being just a little bit more Pharisee-like to, those dumb Pharisees in Jesus' day. They just weren't harsh and hard enough. Well, let's get up there and be harsher and harder. No. Jesus came and said, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And in the context of when he said that, he wasn't talking about the big bad devil. He was talking about religious behaviors. He was talking about the religion incorporated. I like that phrase. The business of religion had it down pat, man. They could kill, steal, and destroy in a heartbeat. They were Job's comforters times 20. They had it. They had a plan for your shame. They had a plan for your being accused and caught in the act. I mean, really, they had a plan for catching you in the act. That's the woman caught in adultery, a story told often by many of us in the Gospels, and yet it bears repeating here that apparently they had a strategy. They had a committee going out looking for sin. They were on a sin hunt. And far too much of the 21st century Christianity that I've lived through has been on a sin hunt. Who's bad? Who's evil? Who's going to mess up our children? Who's going to have the worst songs, the worst costumes, the worst... I said costumes. Who's going to have the worst fashions that are going to once and for all going to take away our children? Well, I got bad news for you if you're worried like that. What's taken away our children has been the harsh, mean-spirited, unforgiving, finger-wagging, monster God view that says, hey, you're all going to hell, so the last thing you can hope for is to say the sinner's prayer quick before you die. That is bankrupt. And that's why in the United States, the church is shrinking rapidly. Now, all of that is to say, I hope I painted a bleak enough picture so I can turn on the lights now. Forgive me. Bear with me. Here's the lights. Let's do something beautiful, because ugly, oh baby, ugly is getting done to death. Let's do the beauty. Let's live the beauty of the indomitable strength of love. The undefeated strength of love. Love never fails, 1 Corinthians 13 says. Somebody challenged me the other day like I didn't know 1 Corinthians 13, the love chapter. And that's fine. I didn't get fussy. I just thought it curious and laughable that they wondered if I'd ever read that. And yeah, I read it. And I wonder, it's bigger than reading it. Have you decided that's the way you're going to live? That love believes all things? Love never fails? I mean, just, again, go back and read the list of 1 Corinthians 13, and let me tell you, it's going to kick your posterior pretty hard about how you live your life, the lifestyle by which you choose to live, and say, I'm a follower of Jesus. So the indomitable strength of love, and 1 Corinthians 13 speaks it, just demands of us more than bumper stickers and cliches. It demands of us life-threatening cross-bearing, hard lifestyles of looking at the world and saying, with God, we love you. Yeah, you. Yeah, and you over there. We've not divided you up into us versus them. We've not divided you up in left versus right. We've not divided you up in this political party against that political party. No, we're not going to do that, because that's not love. That's partisanship. That's anger. That's unforgiveness. That's an unmerciful way of living life. And somewhere I read that the mercies of God are brand new every day. I mean, if God did sleep, God would wake up and say, everything's great. Nothing's gone wrong in my night of sleep. And mercy is new every day. Great is thy faithfulness. Living that and knowing that the indomitable strength of love is the most beautiful thing we can do. Another thing I'm challenging us all to live like, and that is to live in a humane sense toward humanity. Humanity's been inhumanely treated. If you don't agree to our terms as a nation, well, we're just going to bomb you. Well, that's inhumane. It's inhumane to choose war over peace. Blessed are the peacemakers. Not blessed are the war makers. Blessed are those who challenge the world with peace, who dare the world to step over the line. Over here, cross that line. Let's make peace. At that desire for humane humanity, I think, is the one thing that creates a power of beauty. The power of beauty. Jesus said, heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, freely you've received, raise the dead, freely you've received, freely give. That's humane treatment of everybody. Everybody gets humane treatment. Even the executioners at the lynching tree where Jesus was hung. The executioners were, in their bloodthirsty brokenness and their sadness, they were gambling over his clothes. And Jesus, who is beyond any normal way of thinking, being tortured, looks down and sees his intimate garments, the things that just came off of his body, being gambled for. And what does he say? He says, God, I need justice. Make this right. No, he looks at him and says, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. So here we are in 21st century Christianity, in 21st century United States of America, where we bark at our executioners. We demand justice. We demand protect our Christian rights. But Jesus didn't demand any of that. If anybody had a right to demand anything, Jesus certainly did. And he looked down and said, let's make forgiveness what the demand is here. Yeah, I know. People look at that like, oh boy, oh yeah, you're just scratching where people itch. Let me help you. No, I'm not. There's a whole lot of itching going on out there, and I am not scratching where most people itch, because most people right now are itching for vengeance. Most people are itching for getting back at the other party, getting back at the other group, getting back on the us versus them spectrum. So, and what I'm preaching and teaching here is not necessarily popular. I promise you that. If you could see some of the comments that come my way over time, and will likely come my way because of this, this is not popular. But it is powerful, and it is beautiful. I got to say before I move on to this next portion of it wasn't it magnificent to watch the 4 astronauts with Artemis 2? They said, we left on this launch for the moon as friends, and we came back as best friends. And some of the comments they made in response were so moving. And it sounds like at least 2 or 3 of them had a very specific heart of faith. It was so moving. They said, we're a crew here on this planet. There are no boundaries from space. We looked down and we saw one, I like to call it, big blue space canoe. One planet. And we have this one shot at love. To be people of humane treatment. All right, I got to keep moving here. Third thing is that I'm going to go through here. First of all, the indomitable power of love. Second, to know that we got to find a humane way to live with each other as humans. And this third thing is, it's a bit more of a challenge, and it's this. We've tried anger with each other, haven't we? We've tried being rageful and finger pointing and tit for tat and comma for comma. Trying to rage our way out of the problems is never the answer. And I know love never fails, but how do we express love? Well, let me offer you a project of heart, and that is, maybe it's time to grieve and lament and weep over the ugliness of our times. To weep forward toward doing something beautiful. Why? Because I weep over ugly getting done to death. So I hope you hear my point here, is that we've tried anger, and we continue to try anger, fist waving and word throwing. How about we try tears? How about you look inside your own soul? I'm looking in mine to find tears, find weeping over this condition. So if somebody comes to me with their hardcore political agenda and they're determined to get me to join their rage machine, I would like to hope that I would be able to weep in the face of that kind of harshness, coarseness. I'd like to think that I could be able to, even with a bit of a Mona Lisa smile, look and let tears puddle in my eyes and respond with, I can't join you in your rage. I can't join you in the rageaholic mindset that is dominating the airwaves here in our nation. I can't. I can't join you in your sermonizing of how bad certain people are. I can't join you in your culture wars to determine that we're going to prove all those people are bad and they're damning our society to hell. I can't join you. I just can't. I think I'm going to be over here with Jesus looking over Jerusalem and weeping. He wept and said, how often I would have gathered you like a mama hen. And he uses that intentionally to call us to the tenderness, but the passion of a mother hen who would guard her chicks and fight the oncomers. But fight how? By weeping. He said, as often as a mother hen would gather her chicks, he said, he weeps over Jerusalem. So what's the best way to fight here? Well, there's a lot of ways that aren't right, but I know one way that might be a way toward beauty. That's the point of today's podcast. Lament. Grieve. Do something beautiful, because ugly is being done to death. We have tried anger. How about we try tears? And let weeping last for the night, however long that night may be. Yeah, I know there's a big to-do going on with our 250th anniversary of our nation. I know a lot of Christian speakers are going to get up and call the nation to repentance. They're going to call us to become a Christian nation again, which that's debatable. I don't think we've ever been a Christian nation. I think we've been a nation where you're free to be a Christian. But I don't think we've ever been a quote-unquote fully Christian nation. Been a lot of Christians among us, but not as a nation. We've not been Christian. So come back to Christianity? I doubt. I really doubt it. I mean, okay, if that happens, well, yee-haw. But I don't think that's even on the scale of practical, purposeful, and even in-depth way of managing what's going to have to happen. Let's be people of beauty. Let's be people of, if we're going to find any way for faith, spirituality to have a new day in our time, let's be people of beauty. Let's be people with beauty in our footsteps. How beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news, Romans says. How beautiful. Let our transportation, which in their day was feet, let what brings us to a moment, our feet. Let our feet be beautiful. Psalm 27 says, "This I've desired, that I may behold the beauty of God in his temple." Not the beauty of, not the rage of God's justice, wrath, the rage of God's anger, like, let's flood the world again. Well, here's a problem with that. God promised Noah it would never happen again. But how about beholding the beauty of God, the greatness of a Father without the shadows of divisiveness and wrathfulness? What does our God look like? Zeus casting lightning bolts? Or Jesus washing feet? Or Jesus crying over Jerusalem? What does our God look like? A vengeful, raging, idolatrous, mean-spirited, hungover in the morning daddy who's going to beat the kids for making too much noise because I was resting off of my binge last night? Or do we have a God that looks like Jesus who gathers the sheep, puts them on his shoulder, the one that was lost, in fact, gathers the sheep and puts it on his shoulders and carries them home? The images of Christ betray all of our Arnold Schwarzenegger needs for getting the bad guys, shoot them up, run to the chopper, getting out of all the nonsense of getting back at all the people that have harmed our nation. Frankly, I think one of the things that's harmed our nation most is the ugliness by which we folks of faith have behaved. The ugliness that has dominated far too much of our demeanor. Well, I've opened about, I think last count I had 5 cans of worms that I just opened, so hang in there with me. I'll just continue with this. Beauty will save the world, and the most beautiful thing you can do is love. So I want to remind you, the biggest mistake we make is thinking we have time. Be present, be kind, love more, love now. Go into the world today, Mother Teresa said, and love the people you meet. She didn't say pick and choose whether they're right or left or red or blue. She said, love the people you meet. Let your presence light new light in the hearts of others. Now, I'm no Mother Teresa, I'm just Bishop Randy, and here's my saying. Let's get up and go do something beautiful, shall we? Why? Because, oh, baby, ugly is getting done to death. Let beauty occupy your soul. Let beauty occupy your mind. Let beauty be your goal in each and every day. Like the saying goes lately, go out and touch some grass, smell some fresh air, listen to the birds. I've made it a purpose lately, just listen for the robin song everywhere I go. And it seems like everywhere I get out of my car, there's a robin to say, hi, Randy. That's beautiful. That calms my soul. Now, on the count of 3, take a deep breath with me before we go away, before I close this broadcast. 1, 2, 3. Inhale and exhale. And say to the next person you see the 3 most holy, magical, charmed words in the human language. I love you. I hope you imagine me saying it to you. God bless you all, and happy trails.
Thanks for listening to the No BS Bishop podcast. If you like the show, leave a comment on it. Or, even better, share it with your friends. And we'll see you on the next one.